Okay, welcome everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Shelley Kierstead, past chair of the International Society for Therapeutic Jurisprudence, or ISTJ. One of the things that ISTJ aims to do is to provide public education about therapeutic jurisprudence. And so we started this webinar program to try to be able to provide one another with sort of information, ideas, discussions about what's happening with TJ in different subject areas and in different geographic regions. So we are very excited today to have some of our colleagues from Argentina present some of their work for us. So just to briefly introduce them, Stella Marchetti, who is a member of our ISTJ board, and she's here today along with her colleagues, Leticia Peralta and Maria Marta Fernandez. And we've also got a person to help out with interpretation if required. Melissa, is it Polite? Yes?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, it is.
Yes, and so Stella and her colleagues are with the Center for Mediation and Alternative Methods of Approach and Conflict Resolution in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And they are going to share with us today the project that you'll see on the screen, measuring whether online criminal mediation is framed within therapeutic jurisprudence. So I am going to welcome them, say nothing other than, I think I understand that the presentation will be about a half hour, and then we'll have some time for questions that folks might have. Yes, Stella, is that pretty accurate?
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much.
And we are recording this, so if you know of colleagues who weren't able to get here today, but who might be interested, I always send out a notice on the ISTJ listserv to let people know when the recording is up on YouTube. So, all right, with no further ado,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are so grateful to be here and for this invitation to share our research with you. Special thanks to Shirley that organized this, and also David Wessler. This research will be, like we mentioned before, we put this title, Measuring Whether Online Criminal Mediation is Framed Within the Therapeutic Jurisprudence. We would like to start, if I can change, let me see if I can change this, sorry. Can happen, this is good. I don't know why, okay, sorry. Yeah, I will do like that. We would like to start with this quote by the Chief Justice Warren Burger at the Supreme Court of the US at the Annual Conference of American Bar Association in 1984. The entire legal profession, lawyer, judge, law teacher, has become so mesmerized with the simulation of the courtroom contest that we tend to forget that we ought to be healers of conflict. The roadmap for today will be, we'll speak a little bit about the framework, legal framework, sorry, after we speak about the Center of Mediation that we work. In the third point will be about the mediation process, our approach and mediation practice. After we will speak about the therapeutic jurisprudence as a compass and North Star. And we will talk also about the main benefits of the mediation process, the new context of the COVID-19 pandemic, and finally, we will speak about the findings that we have with this research. When we speak about the legal framework, Argentina has a federal, republican, and representative form of government. We have one criminal code for the whole nation. We have our constitution of the city of the Buenos Aires that in section 106 said that the judiciary branch regulates voluntary mediation process. The mediation is also regulated by the Code of Criminal Procedure for adults in the section 217, and for adolescents in the juvenile criminal procedure in section 53275. We also have some guidelines for the action of the Center of Mediation. We'll speak a little more about this in a few minutes. Something that we wanted to point out that the purpose of criminal mediation, as PR section 55 mentioned, is pacify the conflicts, seeking reconciliation between the party, enabling voluntary reparation of the damage caused, avoiding victimization, promoting self-composition, with full respect for the constitutional guarantees. Talking about the effect of the process, what happened when we have a mediation, I would like to emphasize that in case of agreement, we have the final archive of the case. Without agreement or no compliance, the case continues its process. When we talk about the Center of Mediation, we would like to speak a little bit about the history. We start in 2006. We start to operate, and we have the prosecutor and the criminal judge that refer case of mediation to us. Only to clarify a little bit, the city of Buenos Aires since 1996 became another state, separate state from the rest of the country. I mean, we are like another state. We have 24 states in Argentina. We're one of them. And particularly since we start with 2007 with 700 referral case, and we went to more than 5,000 cases in 2012. So we grew up in work. We have much more work since each year that we were working. In 2013, the Center of Mediation have changed their name until the name that we have today, because before we have another one, and we are now, in this year, we are having 10 years that our name is the Center of Mediation, an alternative method of conflict management and resolution. And we have lawyers as training as mediator. We have an interdisciplinary team and an administrative team also that work together. The mission and objective of the Center of Mediation is to promote the therapeutic restorative model as a complementary and alternative method of conflict resolution and management within the legal criminal system, and also to develop methodological proposals that will effectively address disputes involving the current and the future competence of the judiciary. As regards the process and the mediation practice, is a process of communication, voluntary and confidential for comprehensive conflict management. It's involved a neutral third party, the mediator, who facilitate communication between the party by means of interventions such as asking, listening, understanding, joint understanding or recognition, and stimulation reflection. It promotes collaborative approach to the conflict. Participants can recognize their own interest, legitimize the interests of the other party, reach mutually acceptable resolution by identifying common grounds, and it's based in the principle of restoration of social ties based on respect and dignity of each person. more or less is clear what I'm saying or not? Because, you know, since English is not my first language, and
Very clear.
okay, thank you. It's only, that's, well, we want to refer a little bit about the principle of the criminal mediation. We can talk a lot, but we only mention some of them. Neutrality, voluntarity, confidential, free of charge. We also mention flexibility, officiality, and transdisciplinarity. We want to explain a little bit about what we mean for bilaterally. That's maybe will be more not so easy, or it's easy, but both parties have the opportunity to express their need and interests under the guidance of the mediator for the proper development of the same. This does not prevent the mediation for taking place, without the dialogue face-to-face meeting on the plaintiff with the accused, if either party does not want to meet face-to-face. We also want to clarify what we understand for transdisciplinary. Transdisciplinary for us means go beyond the boundary of individual disciplines, promote a complex thinking that's overcome limitation and fragmentation of each separate discipline and integrate them to foster a comprehensive approach. We wanted to say that because I refer first that most of us, we are lawyers, trained as a mediator, but we also have an interdisciplinary team. But we, in all these years, you know, we have to integrate so much knowledge from psychology, sociology. So we do have to add much tools that we all normally we have as lawyers. Another thing that we want to mention is about the mediation tools. We will not go further in one of these tools, only a mention of this is redefining, normalization, clarification, positive connotation, passing, asking question, paraphrasing, reframing, legitimation, and active listening. About active listening, we want to share with you a poem that's for us, you know, is what we think that active listening means. And in that case, we will ask to Meli, to read for us. Meli, I think
I
you
am
have
here.
the open.
Yes, I have the poem. Thank you very much. So the poem is called On Listening. When I ask you to listen to me and you start by giving advice, you have not done what I asked. When I ask you to listen to me and you begin to tell me why I shouldn't feel that way, you are trampling on my feelings. When I ask you to listen to me and you feel you have to do something to solve my problems, you have failed me, strange as it may seem. Listen. All I ask is that you listen, not talk or do, just hear me. When you do something for me that I can and need to do for myself, you contribute to my fear and inadequacy. And I can do for myself. I am not helpless. Maybe discouraged and faltering, but not helpless. But when you accept as simple fact that I do feel what I feel, no matter how irrational, then I can quit trying to convince you and get about the business of understanding what is behind this irrational feeling. And when that's clear, the answers are obvious and I don't need advice. Irrational feelings make sense when we understand what's behind them. So please listen and just hear me. And if you want to talk, wait a minute for your turn and I will listen to you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. This is, we think that's clarify the point that we want to make with this active listening. Another tool that we want to refer is legitimation. And we are really convinced that if we have a climate with social emotional support, individual experience, understanding, acceptance, respect of their thought, belief, and feeling, an affirmation for who they are, an increased confidence and strength to embrace change. Well, we now want to refer to the therapeutic jurisprudence as a compass and North Star. If we go to the website of the International Society of Therapeutic Jurisprudence, we will find that the group of experts, as we have all today, as David, they create the fundamental things that the people have to do when they work in a court. And as we were part of the court or the work of the judiciary for the city, we were thinking if our normal daily work had to be with this or not. That's what was our thought. If we accomplish or not, or we are guided or not for this. That was our, thinking about it. And we decided to see if we are solution focused, procedural fair, trauma informed, personal centered, inclusive, compassionate, respectful for human rights, involving and transdisciplinary. It's our interpretation. And we put this lens, and if we has a person-centered approach, if we work to understand people problems, their trauma and unique experience, if we empathize with the emotional suffering of those affected by conflicts, if we assess the impact of our intervention, ensuring that they promote well-being for all the parties involved in the process, if we were to allow the party to articulate their emotion, to put them in words so that they will process the conflict. We embrace only interdisciplinary, but also transdisciplinary in our intervention.
Stella, so sorry to interrupt. This is Melissa. The girls
Yes.
are telling me that the PowerPoint presentation is stuck on your slide number 7. If you can check that out.
Is great. That is great.
Sorry, thank you.
No, you're welcome. Now, well, let's see if now is okay. Now, I was reading our practice within the framework of therapeutic justice. Is okay now?
Yes, now we can see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Well, and now let me go back. I will turn to Leticia Peralta. Thank you so much, Leticia. Now is your time. You can see Leticia. You have the open microphone.
You're there. Now you're not on mute.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Please.
Thank you, Estela Maris. I will try to do my best to be clear, but my English is not very good.
Don't worry.
Okay. There are two main benefits of the mediation process. First, an opportunity to speak directly gives the possibility of the dialogue from the vulnerability of each participant, enhancing their skill. Second, to be heard. It happens if the participant feels listened, accompanied, legitimized, and understood. If condition 1 and 2 are met, they have the possibility to reflect on the situation, put them on the table, and find the best solution for each one. Now, the benefit of mediation between victims and offenders. For us, the benefits are positive connotation. From one side, offenders may rectify their mistake. On the other side, victims have the opportunity to express their thought and feeling directly to the offenders. Victims can learn more about offenders. Just only with an apology sometimes is enough. I wonder if you were the victim or the offenders, how would you feel at the moment? Why don't you put yourself in their places for 1 second? Imagine that you will have a lot of questions to ask offender, for example. Why did you do this to me? Why me? Could I do something to prevent it? So don't you think the victims have benefit? Yes, they do. Victims can feel that the justice has been done. Victims feel peace on their minds. There is an opportunity the victims can solve the problem directly. Normally, if the victim chooses to go to the court, it will take more time, weeks, months, or even years, without knowing if the result will benefit them. Now, about the offenders, they can correct their mistake to ask for forgiveness directly from the victim, focusing on restoration rather than on mere punishment, to understand the real human consequences, to participate in an agreement with the victim. A practice incorporated into our work as mediator, as the mediation center, is to review our interventions as mediators, the quality of our service provide and work on how to improve it. We had 3 previous experience of quality process, 2 with an objective index, another with an subjective index, in order to measure the quality of mediation. There are 2 phases, ICOM 1, 2013, and ICOM 2, 2015, and ICAS 1, 2018. ICOM means Index Quality Objective Mediation, done by technical observators. ICAS means Index Quality Subjective Mediation done by the users. A new context, the global pandemic. As everybody knows, there were restrictions, confinement, paralysis, and extreme vulnerability. Our work has been done always face to face, but after pandemic time, we have to do virtual mediation. The big question were how to provide access to justice. In consequence, we implemented a protocol of action by the judiciary of the autonomous city of Buenos Aires to carry out online mediation hearings. Now, Maria Marta will continue this presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Leticia.
Stella Maris,
You're
sorry
welcome.
for interrupting again. Maria Marta has just asked me to please move the slides manually because for some reason it is still stuck on number 20 so that they can see the graphs. Sorry, thank you.
Now is correct. Maria
No,
Marta,
I can still see 20.
okay. Let's see. Sorry.
thank you. Thank you, Stella, Leticia, Meli. Good afternoon, everybody. I am going to deal with the virtual survey on mediation process. At the center, we carried out a survey to assess the implementation of virtual mediation and virtual mediation practices. The survey was anonymous, voluntarily, and using a Google form. The target were users of the mediation service, including the parties involved in the conflict and their sponsoring lawyers. It was conducted between February 2020 and September 2021. The purpose was to determine if mediation practice during the pandemic aligned with the principles of therapeutic justice, and also the interventions focused on people, their problem solving, understanding their situation on traumas, and demonstration compassion, inclusivity, and respect for their human rights. I want to be able to analyze some supporting graph, so we will share our article later. And now I'm going to tell you about the general results of our research. The next, please, Stella.
You are now you're
Yes.
seeing, yes? Okay.
It's okay. Yes, it's okay. Online criminal mediation maintain the principles and therapeutic approach. The next.
You are seeing? No.
No.
No. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. As you can see in this graph, 40.1% of the total identified as female, 59% male, and 0.86% as non-binary or did not identify with binary genders. Thank you. As regards the schedule, most of them are satisfied with it. In the early stage of the pandemic, with strict confinement, the schedules were flexible. The next. The majority agreed with the time allocated for the mediation process, including pre-hearing. To access the virtual mediation, most of the participants didn't need any help. Almost 14% needed some help, and only a few, 1.6%, found it complicated. Regarding accessibility, most of them used the cell phone, around 50% the computer, and a few the tablet. And a very small portion didn't have access because they didn't have any digital devices. The majority used Zoom, then they used WhatsApp video calls and Google Meet, although an official platform was available. We use platform or application that best suit the technical and economical resource available for the parties involved. The areas affected by the conflict. Out of the service population, the majority experience impacts on various aspects of their lives due to the conflict that led to the judicial case. The areas most affected include employment, family, commercial, neighborhood, and relationship, whether exclusively or interdependently, but more than one areas affect at the same time. The next.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, you are seeing more or less the slide.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Most of them felt the mediation would solve the dispute. However, only one felt forced to participate, who was a private attorney. Most of them in this graph felt heard, separate, and understood to solve the dispute. The next. Regarding the role of mediator, it was found that she or he intervened to find points of agreement, assisted to present proposals, address doubts or concern of the party, help parties understand the problem at hand, validated the proposed solution, to name but a few. The next. In relation to the virtual environment, the majority felt comfortable, sorry. In this graph, most good recommended the mediation since it helped find a solution, avoid going to court, not to feel alone and understand the other party's perspective. However, only 5% would not recommend mediation because they perceive it was a waste of time, they considered it ineffective, or because the other party refused to change their position. The next. A reason for recommending the mediation, you can see most good recommended mediation because it helps them find a solution to the problem. The next. Most of the process reached an agreement, and the majority felt highly involved in the solution found. The next. Thank you. In the survey, 95.7% of the participants reported feeling heard. In over 94%, the mediator intervened to identify and facilitate points of agreement between the parties. In more than 95% of mediation, the mediator used plain language, among others. We contributing to effective communication between the parties. The next. The measurement tool in virtual surveys show highly satisfactory results and a commitment to constant improvement in the mediation process. It allowed for the recognition of mediation as a therapeutic agent, emphasizing the role in facilitating positive outcomes aligned with the principles of therapeutic justice. The parameters serve as a guiding principle, reminding mediators to maintain their ethical commitment in all the mediation process, regardless of the final outcome. The next, please. From the results, we understand that the task of online criminal mediation maintained the principles and the therapeutic approach, since it was corroborated that beyond the change of modality, multidisciplinary work continued focusing on people and their genuine needs and their integral well-being with an inclusive approach and pronounced real behavioral change, and thus the realization of commitments that can be fulfilled. In the new context, the technological gap was incorporated as a variable of an analysis. These are very relevant data that are taken into account when proposing a tool for access to justice, adequate access to technological resources such as internet connectivity and the use of devices. Based on the finding obtained, we were able to verify that this was not an obstacle, given that both the time used in the previous stages and during the mediation process itself, the flexibility and adaptability of the center professionals were able to maintain the therapeutic standard on online criminal mediations. The next, please.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, no problem.
A little problem.
I need water.
Yeah, that is good.
We would like to end the presentation with this quote by Claudio Glassman. The questioning of practice is the only way not to end up making ours a bureaucratic routine within institutions and tend more and more to massive standardization, the technical answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This sounds like such an interesting project, and I think there are lots of lots of other programs that could really benefit from thinking about the questions you asked and how they can be applied elsewhere. I know that Michael Perlin has to leave a bit early and wants to share something. So I'm going to give him the floor first, and then I'll open it up to any questions or comments that other folks might have. Michael,
Shelley, thank you so much. And Stella and your colleagues, I found this absolutely fascinating. I enjoyed it so much. I think it was terrific. And as a result of that, I'm going to give you more work to do. I looked up, before I sat down, I went to Westlaw and I looked up the words online criminal mediation. That phrase has never been used in any law journal article published in the United States. Most law schools, not all, but over half, have journals that focus on international and comparative law. I think this, a piece based on your presentation, and my goodness, in your 47 whatever slides, you have more than laid out the scope. I mean, all you need is footnotes of an article. I believe there would be multiple journals that would be interested in publishing this. There's very little written about TJ and international law. It's something that I've been bitching about for years. And I know it's comparative law, not international law, but it deals with another country. If I can grovel and suggest that you folks turn this into a law review article and submit it to the American law journals, which is a very different process, I am sure, than submitting articles to journals in Argentina, because it is from Mars. I mean, there's no question about that. Yours is probably much more sensible, but I can, tell you how it's done, of course. I think you would be doing such a service, not just to the TJ community, but to people who are interested in alternative dispute resolution in general, people who are interested in comparative law in general, and people who are interested in criminal case resolutions in general. That's 3 or 4 different bundles. There's some overlap, but not that much. That's my suggestion.
Oh, thank you so much. Really, thank you so much for this. We already have this article, but in Spanish, not
Right.
in English.
I figured,
but in
yeah.
Spanish, and in Spanish was published by the David can speak about the Revista Iberoamericana de Justicia Terapéutica. O sea, we publicize in this web, but we did the translation of the article in English. We sent to Chile the article translated in English to, you have this the possibility to read if you want it.
I'd love to.
Yeah, I Chile have in her hands the article in English to share with the people. That thank you so much.
I've been taking Duolingo Spanish for over 500 days, and I assure you, I could not read it in Spanish. I would get nouns. That would be about it.
No, that's why we previous to this presentation we decided to have this in English, because we think that maybe it will be also interesting for some of you.
Stella, it was great, and to have, since it's been published, this has been published in Spanish, it would have to be changed. You can't simply publish the translation of an article first published in Spanish. There would have to be things added, things changed, perspectives, but it's all the raw material is there. You can take this and it's like it's like on the British baking show, they give you the flour and the sugar and the eggs, and you got to make something. You've got the flour, the sugars, and the eggs. And I like that actually as an analogy, Shelley. Remind me to use that again. I think it's wonderful. And I'm so sorry, I'm so rude, but I have to go. I have
no, please, thank you so much for being
great
today
to see everybody.
with us.
Thank you so very, very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Goodbye,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Have a good
Michael.
one.
And thank you. I see that Maria Marta has also put the translated article in the chat. I will also, when I post the notice of the recording, I'll also post the article as well. So then we're disseminating it even a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I was not sure if I got the idea that we have to do something to publicize the article in another. I don't know if we can, but that will be a thing of another discussion about it.
I
If
think
you
it's a
can-
really good idea, and I'm happy to chat more.
Oh,
about it.
but I don't know how you can do, because we already publishing one
Mhm.
in Spanish. When you have to do in English, maybe okay, we will see.
Yeah, we can chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Do we have any other questions? I have a couple of questions, but I also want.
Please. We love
Is
your
anyone
question.
else? Okay, so I'll start with my question and then others can jump in. I am really curious about, like, how do these cases get to you? So how do they move out of the potential court resolution stream into your mediation process? And is there a limit on the kinds of cases that get to you?
Yeah, we do have a privilege, I will say, to have a procedural criminal justice code that's said that the prosecutor had to send the case to mediation. So yeah, they are like, compelling the prosecutor say, okay, but always have to be voluntary. You will not, you always have to ask to the people if they wanted to participate, if they will be able to talk. That's why also we put in one slide with the bilaterality things, that even though they don't want to see each other face to face, we participate, we talk with one another, we talk with another part, we do this work in separate rooms, but the same case at the same time. So sometimes we have separate session, is depend of the case, but the prosecution. And also there are some judge that sent to us some case, but most of the case came from the prosecutor, because they are one that's have in the first step of the case, when they have the claim, they ask this question, and if the person are willing to, they send to us the case. But we always, when we always check with the people if they are willing to participate, if they want it, we explain again, how it is. And normally the people are agree with that. Sorry, I saw Susana Velázquez. Susana Velázquez is the director of our center, and we will able to do this work for her. Yes, thank you, Susana, for joining us today. The English is not our first language. That's why, maybe Susana don't want to talk so much, because, the English is not, it's a little hard for us. But yeah, thank you for being here, and some colleagues. I don't know if I answer your question, Shirley, about how came to us. Yeah, because
Yeah.
so we are part of the judiciary. That's why, we are connected inside of the judiciary. That's why they can send to us the case directly. Yeah.
Could I go back for a moment to something that Michael had recommended?
Yes, for sure.
Because
David,
it seemed,
you always can
okay,
everything.
let me get this straight. The article itself was published in Spanish in
Yes.
the Ibero-American Journal of TJ. Is that right?
Yes.
That's great. And then it was translated literally into English. And where did that appear?
No, it doesn't appear. We did for ourselves. So we not know ourselves. We hire some. Well, Meli did it. So, no, our professional translators did the translation, and we also have shared now, and Shirley have the translation of the article.
Because it seems to me that if it is already translated into English, there must
Yes.
be a way that we should think about really, really promoting that translation. I mean, maybe doing it the way Michael's talking about is great, but that's because an American journal would never accept something that is just a literal translation of something that's already been published. So you have to go through all this junk to just come up with some different words and different this and different that in order to make it a publishable article. We've had this all the time as one of the issues, I think, and one of the things that's an anti-therapeutic way of spreading literature. But you may have to live with that if you actually want to publish it in an American journal. That would be good, I suppose, if people want to take up that work and come up with different, make it different enough so that it doesn't violate various trademarks and copyright and all that. But apart from that, if that's not something that's likely to happen, then I think trying to really take what you do have already and managing to really get it into lots and lots of English-speaking people's hands would be a great thing. We should maybe think a lot about how to do that. That gets the same stuff out there. People can know about it, can think about it, can try and use it without having to deal with, let's just change this so it doesn't look too much like the original and all that kind of stuff. These are the things that really frustrate me about journals and everything. And I the meeting in Arizona, in Puerto Rico, one of the things I talked about was the problems with law reviews and journals, the anti-therapeutic aspect of them. This is part of that in a way. So I think it has anti-therapeutic stuff. If someone wants to go and do it and publish it in an American journal, great. But I would hope that there'd be a way of really getting this to the English speakers who are interested directly through your exact translation, how you'd want to get it out. I think we should talk a lot about that. That's all.
And I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, right?
No, they're
You
not.
can do
They're
both.
not.
We get it on the TJ Biblio, maybe you get it on SSRN.
That's right.
And also work on, and there's so much data in there that
No, it's excellent. And so,
you can
really, in a way, it's
a number of
counterintuitive that you could do all this stuff in a virtual setting and have
Yeah.
good results. That's a lot of people would not have expected that to be the result. So it's very interesting. But I agree, you can do it both ways. Of course, you can try and get in an American journal, and that would be helpful. But getting it into putting it on SSRN and just really trying to send it to as many people who can get it and read it, that would be great as well. I encourage you to do that.
Thank you so much. That's why we decided to translate before the presentation, that you will be available to read directly in English. And I really, we have to say thank you not only to Susana Velázquez, that is our director of the center, if not all our colleagues, because this is work of all the people that work in the center. It's not only the work that Leticia, Maria Marta, and I. We did the presentation, we did, but the work of everyday work is for everybody. It's not only our work. We write this, but it's not our work only. That's why we have to say thank you to everybody for this, for the result, because the effort of each of us in everyday work. That's why. Thank you so much, David, for your comments. Also, always are great. Thank you so much.
Do we have any other questions?
So how many did we have here today? Do we know?
I think we had 13. Yeah, I think it was 13.
Good.
We had more, as always, there are more registered, and then people don't always end up being able to make it. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, some
yes,
people
yes,
try
yes.
to make it and don't succeed, like was my case so often,
Yeah, but you were
I
on the
did.
ball
Today I
today.
did it.
Yeah.
Well, I had
Yeah,
my research assistant came in this morning to help me with a bunch of things, including this. She says,
Okay.
click on this green thing later, or this white thing, whatever it was, click here and you're gonna get it. I said, okay,
Perfect.
and it worked.
It worked. Awesome.
Thanks to Catherine Aloy from, who's my assistant, who's from Guatemala. But
Catherine
lives
is
in San
amazing.
Juan now, yeah.
Yeah.
This is great. That's why we have this in Spanish and English. That's why it's good, because can we
Claro
spread
que
the
sí,
word for.
claro que sí, 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 sí.
Claro que sí.
Un placer, un placer.
Your Spanish is great, baby. We can speak it, but some of us we will,
Yeah, he perdido mucho de mi español, pero poco a poco ahora está regresando. I lost a
Yeah.
lot of it during the pandemic and staying at home where where Gigi and I basically speak English, or she speaks French, and I go ooh. But we really didn't go out on the streets and practice and keep up our Spanish, and it shows with me, but poco a poco it's coming back now, because I'm making an
Yes.
effort outside on the streets. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for Shirley. Yes.
I just have one more question, because I'm just so curious about your
Yes,
program.
please.
But I'll just one more. Are you continuing to do the online mediation? Like, I know
This
a lot
is-
of people after COVID, there's a big question, right, about should we continue? But it sounds like it's been really effective. So it seems like it makes
Yes.
sense.
We do continues to do this virtual mediation. We have also present, we do have we
In person
It's-
as well.
in person. Yeah, we do have the both system.
Mhm.
We have that's depend of the
Thank-
case or depend of the person. We do have. Leticia, you want to say something, please?
No, and so face to face and virtual all day.
Yeah, we have the both system.
And is it optional then? People decide which way they want, or you decide which ones would be appropriate? How does that work?
Well, this, sometimes the people ask to be present face to face. Sometimes, the people, say please, and sometimes they say, no, please, virtual. This is the most of the case. If they ask, please, don't make me travel to the office, blah, blah, blah. They like virtual because it's more simple for them. But it's a combination. Sometimes, and sometimes we decided, because we think for the case, maybe it's good option the people meet face to face, because for the kind of the problem that they have among their hands, we think that maybe, a personal encounter will be good. Susana, you want to say something, please, Susana? You want to add something? No. Okay. Yeah, because she knows she can explain better than me. For sure.
But I assume sometimes some of the people would rather not really meet each other face to face, but still might be willing to
Exactly.
to try and negotiate, right? So that's
Exactly.
really interesting, having
Yeah.
that even when there's not a COVID issue or anything, but when it's actually preferred by some
Yes.
people.
Yes, that's why we keep the option, and we keep this possibility to go through the process of mediation, even though they never meet each other, so they never go face to face. But we do work, and the people solve, the thing that's brought the finish the case, even though they don't meet each other because they don't want it, because we deal with criminal case, and sometimes the people really don't want to see each other,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, for
because, you
sure.
know, for the history, because they want not, but they want to close this, you know,
Mhm.
thing and say, move on and continue with our life with this. That's
Do you
why
have data on how it's resolved? You know, when it's resolved, how it's resolved, for example.
Like, do you keep a record of how long it takes for the resolution, what the nature of the resolution is? I think that's what you're asking, right, Jaden?
I think so, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting, you know, to think
Yeah.
about this when in a criminal case and all, say, well,
Yeah.
we didn't really want to see each other, but we've worked this out this way. And maybe we
Mhm.
wouldn't have if we had to be face to face. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
the more I think about it, the more it fascinates me,
Me
really.
too.
I mean, I'm not completely sure if I have the answer, exactly the answer that you asked me, but you can imagine, sorry, I will speak in Spanish for Susana and any of my colleagues. Susana, me están preguntando cuál es la diferencia de tiempo entre hacerlo por mediación o hacerlo como un caso normal. ¿Vos tenés medido el tiempo? Meli can translate you. Melina, Susana
Sí, y
puede
lo que
traducir.
también estaban preguntando es si ustedes ven que hay algún tipo de diferencia entre lo que se resuelve en un caso y el otro. O sea, si tienen más o menos resoluciones de manera virtual, de manera presencial, si tienen algún registro de eso.
Okay.
No, no tenemos un registro de distinguiendo virtual y presencial por ahora. Y con relación a la duración, y en la virtualidad hay un poco más de demora debido a que a veces hay o problemas de conexión o por lo menos es lo que me parece. No sé si Leticia y María Marta, que son las que están todos los días, tienen algo más para decir.
Melina, you want to
Sí.
translate
No,
for...
tranquilas. No, I will just take note and I will translate everything when everybody has said what they want to say, so no worries.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Susana.
Quizás lo que tengo para decir es que con esto de la virtualidad, mucha gente que no tiene dinero para acercarse al centro de mediación, eso fue un gran avance en ese sentido, ¿sí? Porque habían muchas audiencias que se caían por eso, ¿sí? O porque no tenían con quién dejar a sus hijos. Entonces esto fue un gran avance, ¿no? El tema de la virtualidad. En ese sentido, bueno, sí, estuvo bueno.
Una cosa a agregar con respecto a la duración, tal vez si lo que están preguntando es si duran en tiempo real lo mismo, normalmente tenemos
No.
2 horas para destinar a cada proceso de mediación. En presencialidad tenemos que ajustarnos mucho más, que a veces en virtualidad nos podemos extender un poco más. No sé si eso también es lo que habían preguntado, si tenía que ver con el tiempo que utilizamos para la mediación.
Ok, ¿alguna quiere agregar algo más o voy con esto que estuvieron diciendo hasta ahora?
Anda con eso, yo voy a agregar quizás algo
Sí,
más. Pero
agregaría algo más, Melissa,
Sí.
¿no? Sí.
Sí, gracias. Decime.
Que agregaría lo siguiente, que al ser un centro institucional, también tenemos determinadas limitaciones en cuanto a los tiempos que se le destina a cada una de esos procesos mediatorios, ¿no?
Perfecto. Okay, so what they were saying, and they hope that all of these will be answering your questions, is that normally when this process takes longer, when they are doing it virtually, it is typically connected to things that have to do with a lack of a good connection and things that have to be delayed, basically because of the connection itself. They also mentioned that sometimes doing things virtually has helped a lot, especially people who come from poorer backgrounds, because sometimes it gets really complicated for them to travel. Sometimes they have to travel from very far away. Some of them have lots of children, and it's really a problem for them to leave their kids somewhere with somebody taking care of them so that they can go to do this in person. So that sometimes might be changing the times and how long the process might take. What they were also saying is that typically when they do things in person, they have an allotted time of 2 hours for the mediation to happen. And when this is done in person, they have to make sure that this sticks very, let's say, strictly to these 2 hours that they have. And sometimes this is not really the case when they are doing things virtually. They might have some more freedom to move or to extend a little bit depending on the case. But these are mainly the differences why some things might take longer or not. They do not have an exact record of things being done faster or not as fast. Because sometimes it changes depending on the case that they might have. Also, what they added at the very end was that, well, the center has to work in the context of an institution, and well, this sometimes places very strict time constraints on them. But typically what they try to do is they try to be flexible if this is possible for them. And they hope that they have answered your question with all of these things that they have been mentioning.
Thank you so much for the translation.
I think that was wonderful. I just want to ask them one more question. I'm sorry.
Yes, for sure.
Are there instances where where someone will say, you know, I just don't feel comfortable having face-to-face contact in this situation, and therefore would prefer to do it virtually? How often does that happen?
Oh, more often than you can even think about it. Yeah, we have very often this occasion that they prefer to do. But even though we can do in person, but we separate, so we know that, and we try to do the things that they didn't have to meet in the building. You know, we go for one room for another, and we met with them with separate rooms and even levels to they don't have to meet. We work hard in this. We don't have the best building that we would like to have, but we have, you know, enough space, even though it's more easy in virtual, but we can do this also in person, you know. That's
Thank you.
I don't know when no, please when you make a question about the time, I didn't know if you make a question, what is the difference that the time takes, for example, if you do the whole process, o sea, the whole process to the judge, the final sentences, and the time that you gain doing the mediation. I don't know if was this the question, you know, o sea, the comparison between the taking the route of the mediation or taking the route to say, no, I will go to the end. I want to, you know, I don't know what was the question time exactly. That's Chile and you point out.
I think both are interesting. Like, both, okay. Is it, you know, is in person versus virtual? Is there a difference?
Okay.
But also, is it, because sometimes I know in civil cases, saving time in mediation is sometimes seen as a potential benefit. But in family law, which I'm involved with, sometimes actually mediation takes just as long, but it still has benefits because the parties are able to deal better in the future, right? With if they're parents and they have to be dealing with their children, the mediation, it might not be any faster, but it helps them to move forward in a better way.
Yes, this is for sure. This is for sure, Phil. I'm sure that this will take so faster than you know, to go for all the process, because you know, some of us work for a time in the judiciary, o sea, in the tribunal also, o sea, even though we work at the Center of Mediation, but we have experience working in the in un juzgado,
court.
The
Melissa.
court.
In
the
court,
court.
sorry, I forgot the word, sorry. And we do have 4, 5, 6 years in the court, if the case goes to the court.
Wow.
Can be 4 or 3, but now, you know, will take longer. And we never take more than, you know, we can do 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings, maybe more, but normally the case is 2 or 3 meetings. This is, you know, and this is will be 2 months, 3 months, 4
Mhm.
months. This
Yeah.
is, you know, this is the comparison of the time is, you know, it's amazing. Yeah, they will resolve so much faster the case going through this process for sure.
And do you record the resolution? I mean, exactly
Yes.
how it was resolved, yes?
Yes. We have in this search that also in this research and this, we have the data that even though the people say in 95% that they want to go back to mediation, blah, blah, the agreement, so the result of the agreement was 76, o sea, was less, o sea, even though they don't get an agreement when they go through the process of mediation, they even wanted to go back to the process of mediation, most of them. This is the average of our agreement level, is 70-75%. Susana, I'm exactly or I'm wrong. Estamos en 70%, 75%. No sé si alguna sabe el porcentaje exacto ahora.
Sí,
general,
ese es más o menos el porcentaje de acuerdo de las mediaciones efectivamente realizadas, ¿no?
Un 70%, 70%.
75.
75. Good. That's good. Thank you so much, Susana. Yeah.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much.
Fascinating. This has been really, really interesting. I really hope that we can get some conversations like going in other jurisdictions. Because I don't know how much criminal mediation is happening in a lot of other jurisdictions. Maybe
Kelly,
I'm
is
just
this
not
part
aware.
of is this part of the meeting going to be part of what is recorded?
Yep.
This part as well.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think this has been really wonderful, and I thank all of you for presenting. Thank you for the folks who came to watch, and I will let everyone know when the recording is ready.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much to you and to David, for everyone here to stay with us. Thank you.
It was lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.